Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. I just have to say, this is glorious. Just glorious, these beautiful flowers, and they are reflected in the flowering of these beautiful faces that are in front of me right now. I am so grateful to have been able to serve this church even for a short while, because this congregation is a beautiful bouquet. Thank you. Welcome on this beautiful Flower Communion Sunday, a time when we celebrate and commemorate the falling in of our spirits and honor the variation and the beauty of our community. This is a church of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many sources of wisdom and many spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your identities are all welcome here. Welcome to visitors and newcomers, and those of you who are joining us online, a hearty welcome to you. Yay! There is a preschool playroom open for young ones in groups for kids following the Time for All Ages. And I want to remind everyone that the annual meeting will follow this service, so grab a cup of coffee after the service is finished. I think people were encouraged to bring a bite to eat. You can have donuts or whatever is going to fortify you, and then come back to the sanctuary at 11:30, I believe. Most of you have received a survey in the mail regarding the Article 2 revision that is being proposed and voted on in the upcoming General Assembly. We have 9 voting delegates, and they are interested in hearing what you have to say. So take a look at that survey and please turn it in and let us know. What are your thoughts? Our justice partner this month is Southeastern Minnesota Interfaith Immigrant Legal Defense. Whew. I'll say that again. Southeastern Minnesota Interfaith Immigrant Legal Defense. And I'd like to invite Phil Wheeler forward to tell us a little bit about this organization.
Good morning. I'm a member of this church. I'm Phil Wheeler, and also I serve on the board of the Southeastern Minnesota Interfaith Immigrant Legal Defense, or SMILD. SMILD exists in part because this congregation passed the resolution for immigrant justice and sanctuary back in 2017. We, with other churches and faith communities and community organizations, formed a coalition to support sanctuary here if needed. And we quickly realized that legal defense was an equal or greater need. If you have legal defense and can get out of ICE detention, your chances are about 25 times better than if you represent yourself. So we formed a nonprofit and in 8 months raised enough money to contract with 2 nonprofit immigration attorney organizations. And since September of 2019, we have represented nearly everyone from this region, 11 county region, who has been in ICE detention with about a 90+% success rate. Our criteria is you have, in legal terms, our criterion is you have to have at least a snowball's chance of success. The support of this church and its members has been critical to our success. I have brochures downstairs and would be happy to answer questions that you may have. Please come down and see me. Thanks.
Friends, I invite you to take a breath as we enter this sacred time. In the words from our minister in the 1870s, the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, may our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light the way. It's good to be together. In a moment, our opening hymn will call us back, and you can find the lyrics in your hymnal or online. But before we sing, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and greet those around you. from the strength of heaven. From the warmth of sunlight, from the radiance of the moon, from the quick of lightning I arise. I arise today from the strength of heaven. I arise today from the firmness of the earth. Our offering will now be gratefully received and generously given to our justice partners, Southeastern Minnesota Interfaith Immigrant Legal Defense. Oh, wait a minute. This is a perfection-free zone.
I invite you all to turn to 724 in your hymnal, and we will read the consecration of the flowers together. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing, these thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship. But may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do the work in this world. Now we will accept the offering. First smile, thank you.
I'd like to invite the children to come up. Those feeling young at heart who want to come and join me in this tight floor space. Hi, how are you? This is a really hot mic. We're going to hold it way back here. All right, hi everybody. I'll scooch so we can get some people over here. We're almost all the way through. All right, it is the beginning of a new month. And do you know what that usually means? Spring! Or summer. We're going to go for summer this time. So the beginning of the new month, this is where we get a new theme. But June is a little bit different because we get one theme and it has to go all summer. It's the summer theme. So, did anybody do their homework and figure out what the theme is for the summer? No. Because school's done. We're done with homework. Yeah, I thought so. So the theme for summer is renewal. Have you heard this word before? Yeah, you don't know? Well, you're going to hear a lot of it over the summer because it's our summer theme. We got 3 months of this. So renewal is simply to make something new again. And today we're going to think about this specifically in the way that flowers teach us how to make something new again. So what's this?
A flower, a little seed.
It did grow from a seed.
A seed comes from a flower.
It does. It comes from a seed and it grows and it comes into a flower. Do you know what type of flower this is? A rose. We got it. You were about to say, does it smell good? It smells like a rose. Good. No false advertising. So we have a rose, and roses bloom every year. But at the end of the season, do you know what happens to the blooms? They die. They go away. And then it goes to sleep for the winter. And then next year, what's going to happen to it? It's going to come back. It's going to renew. But there's some things that the rose is going to teach us about how it comes back. Do you think next year the bloom here is going to look exactly like this one?
I think a bloom is too fucking
It keeps going? And it's going to keep going again and again. You are right. But when we're looking at it, if it's going to be exactly the same, and I'm seeing lots of head shaking, no, the bloom is never going to look exactly the same. So when it gets renewed, is it going back just the way things were before? No. It's going to look a little bit different, but does it still look beautiful? Yeah, it can still be beautiful. Something else happens to a rose. So if you take a rose right up here at the bud, so I've been told, and you cut it off, next year, it's going to try and grow more than one bud. It's going to renew in bigger ways. And so it might renew with 2, 3, 4 buds. Sometimes, if we get 2, 3, 4 buds off of a rose, are those all going to be beautiful? Yeah, they're all going to be beautiful. They're all going to smell like roses. Sometimes, though, the plant needs to come down for a while, and it might lose its bud, and the next year there might not be any bloom in that spot because the plant wants to try new things. And so the buds come up in other places. Yep, it will come up in a different place. And there might not be as many blooms on there. But does that mean the blooms that do show up are less pretty? No. It will still be beautiful, and it will still show us what it is to renew. So renew doesn't always mean to come back exactly as it was, or to go back, I just want things to be back like they were. It's to come back in different, more beautiful, or the same beautiful, or less beautiful, but always beautiful ways. So that's what a rose can teach us. We're going to go in and learn some more activities with flowers and learning about renewal, but we're going to bring you all back for our flower communion ritual later on today. So as we do the children's hymnal that you'll find in the back inside cover of your hymnal, we're going to follow Chantel this way.
I invite you to find yourself in this here and now, and take a deep breath together. Breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turnings, above you the sky and the stars that hold you in their venerable light, holding you in this moment, this breath. You yourself are made of earth and stars, and in this house you are named and known as beloved. Let us enter a time of silence together, allowing our hearts to open, our minds to find some ease, our bodies to rest in breath. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and every beautiful thing. We pray in the words of Cole Arthur Riley. Make us people of wonder. Show us how to hold on to nuance and vision when our souls become addicted to pain, to the unlovely. It is far easier to see the gloom and decay so often. That sings a louder song. Attune our hearts to the good still stirring in our midst. Not that we would give ourselves to toxic positivity or neglect the pain of the world, but that we would be a people capable of existing in the tension of beauty and hardship. Grant us habits of sacred pause. Let us marvel not just at the grand or the majestic, but beauty's name etched into every ordinary moment, every flower. Let the mundane swell with the mystery that makes us breathe deeper still. And by this, may we be sustained and kept from despair. Even in the midst of flowers and wonder, we call to mind all those who are in need of our care and prayers. We hold in our hearts all those families who are grieving the loss due to gun violence, especially police officer Jamal Mitchell and 3 other citizens who were gunned down in Minneapolis this past Thursday. May our grief at the senseless gun violence of our time move us through prayer to a place of resolve and action. We hold all this and more in our hearts, and so we take this time to name aloud, or in the silent sanctuary of our heart, all those people and places we carry with us this morning, that they and we may be held in this circle of care. We give thanks for our gifts. We ask for a way forward in our pain. We sing in praise of this wondrous life. May it be so, and amen. And now we will sing.
Today's reading is Materializing by Jean M. Olson. In what form did the Spirit appear to you today? The blossom of a flower, the tug of a child's hand, the silent twinkling stars, an old woman smiling at the bus stop, a lover's gentle hug, a presence so close to your soul that you could almost touch it, words of truth formed unbidden in your mind. The holy disguised in so many ways. May your senses open wide in recognition.
Today we celebrate a century-old ritual of flower communion, where we praise and name our variety and beauty as a people, and the power and pleasure of us coming together in this bouquet of principle and purpose. Life is this powerful concoction of diversity and relationship. There is no life without relationship. There is no life without diversity. And that is what we are ritualizing today in story and ceremony. We say all of nature, us, all of us as nature, are part of this great gift exchange that's going on. We are diverse and we are in relationship, and there is something in all of this that materializes the holy. That's, in essence, what we're doing today. So what are the gift exchanges that a church ritualizing diversity and relationship offer to this wounded and wondrous world? What are the underlying strengths of doing and being church in this way? Gary Gunderson, author of the book Deeply Woven Roots, and a known global author and a consultant for his creative work at the intersection of faith and health, outlines how church and faith groups are integral to communities, not separate from communities, and how our strengths as church contribute to the root system of a community. Our strength is the strength to accompany. We say and embody, life is being with. Life is being with. We create a wide welcome as best we can and say in word and deed, we're in this together. We're here to accompany one another because, let's face it, life is hard and the manual is super confusing. We accompany one another in our beauty and variety of bodies, in our frailties and challenges, celebrating our ethnicities and cultures, knowing we all carry gifts and we all carry wounds. We say kindness matters. Habits of generosity matter. We accompany one another inside our walls, and we help create frameworks for people to contribute and collaborate outside our walls, between churches, between denominations, and social justice organizations to contribute to the health of our communities. In my tenure at First Church of Dallas in Texas, I had one of the most profound experiences of living into this strength to accompany. In 2021, the Texas legislature had just passed the Texas Heartbeat Act that banned abortions after the detection of a fetal heartbeat, which is around 5 weeks, and enforcement was turned over to private individuals through civil lawsuits. Not only was it a crime for women to receive an abortion after that time, it was a crime to help her in any way. Everyone was out of their minds scared. Uber drivers refused to take women anywhere near a women's clinic for fear of being sued, and abortion clinics closed en masse, even though they offer so many more services than abortion services, and are oftentimes the best resource for people in hard economic shape. The lead minister and the church leadership received death threats on a daily basis because of our stance for women's health and abortion rights. I'll say that my first staff meeting was deciding if we should have a police officer in our worship. That's how volatile it was. In all of that mess, in all of that confusion and heartache, the church said, Life is being with. And they decided to defy the legitimacy of that law. Women of First Church of Dallas created an environment of welcome every other Friday at 4:30 a.m., providing food and kind words as women from across the city gathered in the church social hall, getting ready to be taken to the airport, flown to New Mexico, received medical care and abortions, and were flown back that same night. The flight, the food, the healthcare services were free of charge because the church, under the leadership of Reverend Cantor, had fundraised and organized various communities, local and national nonprofits to accompany economically challenged women and pregnant people in an impossible situation. I was one of the many chaplains who accompanied women on the plane. And I stayed and talked with them during the day, and it was holy work. It's holy. Some of the women were super young. Some had never been on a plane before. Some were in abusive relationships. Others couldn't afford one more child, given their financial circumstances. They were scared. They were grateful. They cared for one another as they cried and they laughed and experienced profound accompaniment in one of the most difficult times of their lives. First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester has its own way of saying life is being with. Your caring community is a thing to behold. It's a thing to behold under the leadership of Melissa. You really show up for one another. You really do. The people working with your immigrant families, trying to start a new life, are experiencing the best efforts of a church that knows how to accompany. Our strength is the strength to accompany. Our strength is a strength to convene. While so much is pushing us apart, church knows how to draw us together. We live in increasingly isolated and isolating worlds under the ruse of connectivity. People come to church to be transformed, to find substance for their hungry spirits, or a way to amplify their individual efforts to affect change. Gunderson writes, people come to church on purpose, and that purpose makes all the difference. We convene to worship. We convene to learn, to argue, to serve, to celebrate, to grieve, and in so doing, we come to understand the power of focused energy. In December of 2014, First Universalist Church of Minneapolis, the church that I served before Dallas, convened a vigil in collaboration with the Black Lives Matter movement and neighboring faith communities to name and mourn the deaths of the Black folk being shot and killed across our country by police, shot while sleeping in their apartment, or walking home with a hoodie on, or put in a stranglehold and killed while selling cigarettes on a street corner. This was before the killing of Jamar Clark, Philando Castillo, and George Floyd. On that night, the doors of our sanctuary were flung open, and artists, community leaders, and neighboring faith communities focused our energies. The church, which holds about 600 people, was packed. We cried together, we sang songs, we named and held the dead. We convened and said, we have come here on purpose, and that purpose makes a difference. Our church membership showed up over and over again in the years following in halls of government, on the streets, in marches, saying, no more. Certainly this work is not done. Certainly you know this, and you understand the power to convene. We made one announcement, at a Wednesday night forum and one email blast, and 20 or more members of First Unitarian Universalist of Rochester took the power to convene and met on a cold cement bridge across East Circle Drive with members of the NAACP, various justice groups, and neighbors to put your focused energy to use, pushing against racism here in Rochester. Our strength is the strength to convene. Our strength is the strength to tell stories. Most of what we do around here on Sunday mornings is tell stories. All kinds of facts, I've just told a couple, all kinds of facts and reasoning can be made available to us, but the thing that usually moves people in one way or another, for good or ill, is the power of story. We are storytellers. In our faith, we don't say there is only one story, but we do say the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we tell one another inside and outside these walls, they matter. The narratives that flow just below the surface of our consciousness matter. Some of the most profound work I do in pastoral care is to tease out the story of people's lives and get them out in the open. Gunderson writes, people literally live and die by the stories that they trust to interpret their lives. The story we tell today in this flower communion is not some nice little story about collecting flowers. The story of flower communion is about diversity and relationship, that we are stronger and more resilient when we come together in all of our variety and beauty. It is a story of defying totalitarianism. It is a story that defied the narrative of the rise of Aryanism. Norbert Chopik literally died because he told and ritualized this story. Today, as we behold and enjoy the fragrance of these flowers, let us lean into the superpower, our superpowers as church, especially now when the world is on fire. Let us lean into our strength to accompany. Let us lean into our strength to convene. Let us lean into the strength to tell powerful stories that heal and transform. And in so doing, may we discover the holy disguised in so many ways. And may our senses open wide in recognition to create communities of health and wholeness and flourishing. May it be so, and amen. Flower communion is a Unitarian ritual and celebration. It began on June 4th, 1923, 101 years ago, by Reverend Norbert Chopik in Prague, Czechoslovakia, for his congregation of almost 3,000 Unitarians. Chopik, who had been raised as a Catholic and ordained as a Baptist before becoming a Unitarian, sought all his life to live as if his soul were free, as if spiritual freedom was as urgent a human need as intellectual or social or political freedom. He was accused of heresy and subversion and tried for treason twice by the Nazis, and in each case, the major evidence against him was taken from his own sermons. His own words from Sunday services were read against him. And in 1942, he was deported to the concentration camp in Dachau, where he died. In 1940, the Reverend Maya Chopik, Norbert's wife, came to the United States and brought the flower communion to the Unitarian Church of Cambridge, Massachusetts. which spread like wildflowers among Unitarian Universalist congregations. Flower communion was and is very simple. People were asked each to bring a flower from their own gardens or from the roadside or the pasture on the last Sunday before summer. When they arrived at church, a large vase stood waiting to receive their flowers. Offering these flowers signified that it was by their own free will that they joined the community, bringing what gifts they could. Today we celebrate our communal bouquet, this garden of wildflowers that we create together, this garden of people with varying skills and gifts, varying beliefs and spiritualities, a rich and diversified soil, which over and over proves to be vibrant, beautiful, and flourishing. May I invite the staff members of First Unitarian to come forward.
In the poem, Thanks to Flowers, Kate Farrell writes, "Not only the cultivated ones in parks and gardens, unfolding immaculate petals on a terrace or trellis, and not just the wild ones, kissed by elegant birds in jungle foliage, or brightening roadsides and meadows, blossoming any place that anything can blossom. But thanks also to flowers blooming in paintings, on carpets, pottery, fabrics of dresses and draperies, or wherever the real or invented colors and shapes of flowers lift the mood of a scene. As they are snipped from bushes, gathered in cordless bunches, tied in ribbons, or arranged in rare bouquets for precious vases. Perfect by nature, for gift and centerpiece, they perfume ballrooms, backyards and prairies, and indoors or out the window. They gladden celebrations and refresh country in season, even in the iciest of winters. The word flower thrives in every language, adorning what everyone says and imagines with beautiful thoughts of flowers, which teach by timeless example that life goes by anyway. You might as well flower. For those who have served as a worship leader or a volunteer for group, classes, or committees and events, this flower is for you.
For those who have shared your time, talent, or treasures to this church or to the wider community for a more loving and just world, this flower is for you. For our children and families, those who have learned and played and created, for those who brought little ones to the preschool playroom or volunteered for Chalice Camp or offered a reassuring smile to the young lives finding a home among us, this flower is for you.
For our volunteer teachers and helpers in youth group, for the adults and youth who are learning and sharing their stories of our faith, past, present, and future, as together we are seeking both inspiration and connection, this flower is for you.
For those who have provided music, playing as featured musicians, singing in our choirs, as a congregation, giving voice to our values, this flower is for you.
For all those who added their voice and heart to making music or helped with Chalice Choir, this flower is for you.
For those who have helped care for our building and grounds, weeding, watering plants, and those who have helped with setup and caring for and cleaning our spaces, this flower is for you.
For those who have offered care and hospitality with cards and calls and meals delivered or served for Tupper Suppers, for those who have helped make our community a place of welcome by greeting and ushering and asking the large questions of how we build inclusive and a joy-filled community. This flower is for you.
For those who have signed their name to join this church, those who have helped with memorial service or donated to the auction or the pledge drive, for those who have said yes in small and large ways to attend to these hard days with grace and flexibility and good spirit, for those who love this church or at least willing to give it a try.
For all of us who believe that there is still goodness alive in this world, and even when, and especially when, we question it, you know you can count on those people to offer a place for your soul to be held. And for every one of us, these flowers are for you.
Reverend Chopik, creator of the Flower Communion, wrote, "This service emphasizes our liberty, but also our common cause. Here in this spiritual community, by choice, we are kindred. And when they go home, each is to take one flower just as it comes without making any distinction where it came from and who it represents. To confess that we accept one another as kindred, without regard to class, race, or other distinction, acknowledging everybody as our friend, who is a human and wants to be good, even though one may be disappointed 1,000 times, or fallen in the fight, and everything would be worthless seem. Be grateful, my soul, for in this life I have lived amidst eternity." During the music, I invite you to come up and place a flower if you haven't already done so, and choose a flower to bring home with you, reminding you we each bring and receive beauty from each other. Please come forward as you would like. I ask you to rise in body and spirit and sing the first verse again of hymn number 163 so we can all sing it together. Just one verse. So beautiful, we need to hear it again. Dear ones, lean into your superpower, the superpower of church, to accompany, to convene, to tell stories that make our communities flourish and grow. Go out and shine. It's good. Hello, John. Good. How are you doing today? I'm sad.